As many of you know, just recently in the October Warframe dev stream, we got a ton of new information about the upcoming old piece update for Warframe, particularly information about the Devils Triad and some of the lore surrounding them. In all honesty though, we didn't get a whole lot of information when it came to their background and why they're involved in the overall story, and what they did reveal showed us more of the characters' individual personalities and how they actually look in the environment that we'll find them in later, rather than like a heavy lore focus. Despite not getting a ton of information surrounding their lore or why we're interacting with them, I want to talk about some of the theories I have surrounding the trio and why I think some of them have some real potential to be accurate. Now, more than likely, everything I'm about to say is totally wrong. However, it's super fun to talk about these topics, thinking about what things can potentially mean. In the comment section below, you guys should tell me some of the theories that you guys have about the Devils Triad and what their role in the lore could possibly be. Before getting into my insane theories, let's discuss what we actually know about the Devils Triad for sure. Much like the Hex from Warframe 1999, all three Devils Triad members have met and interacted with Entrati. However, instead of being incredibly suspicious of Entrati and not necessarily trusting him like the Hex, Devils Triad seems to highly respect him and almost revere him based on what DE has told us about the members so far. Marie and Leon at least do. It's unclear what Roth, the Orcan, actually thinks about Entrati. I would expect that Roth holds a very different opinion of him than Marie and Leon, but I can't be sure. I mean, he could respect him too. In the dev stream, Rebecca said several times that Marie in particular is incredibly loyal to Entrati, even more so than Leon, and definitely more so than Roth. Now, what did he do to gain this loyalty? We're just unsure of, and it's honestly surprising to hear of anyone loyal to Entrati. I mean, even Lloyd, his lover, knows that he sucks. Also, by the way, having a relationship with someone you're fully in charge of is kind of weird, just saying, but it also fits Entrati's personality. Moving on, we know that whatever the Devils Triad is doing is a result of orders or advice or something from Entrati. Well, we do actually have some idea of what Entrati wants to find out, but it's not exactly very well exact. I probably should have used the word specific instead of using exact twice, but that's not important, guys. If I would have known how many scripts I was going to write for YouTube, I would have gone to college to get a creative writing degree instead of computer science. I mean, if this video gets 100,000 likes, I'll change my degree right now in the final semester or final year of my computer science degree to creative writing. Not that I would ever use that degree anyway, but hey, it'll probably help me write better, so I guess I would. Alright, back to the video. Time to leave this pointless rant behind. Hopefully, helps me get to the 8-minute mark though, so I can get mid-roll ads. Anyway, like and subscribe for more high-level, good quality content like this. Anyway, the piece of information that we've gotten is that there's something going on where they're trying to find out if the Orcan can be forgiven for the crimes that they've taken part in. We've heard this several times throughout the lead up to this dev stream and in the dev stream itself, and it seems likely that's the question that Entrati is trying to answer with the Devils Triad, at least in my opinion. I mean, why else would he bring an Orcan back into seemingly the medieval ages? I mean, I'm assuming he brought him back to that time period with Marie and Leon, because how else would an Orcan find themselves in that position? Alright, well, that's most of the important things that we know, which isn't really that much, so let me get into some of my stupid theories now, and you guys let me know what you guys think of them in the comments below. Also, I have a video going over pretty much everything we did learn in the dev stream, so if you're interested in that, go check those out. I have one specifically about the new Warframe Uriel and one about the Devils Triad. Those videos are from last week. You can go look at them if you want to. But anyway, into the theories, guys. Digital Extremes introduced us to a new game mode that'll be coming out alongside the Devils Triad, and it's called the Descendia. And well, it actually looks super fun. It's essentially a giant tower where you have to slowly fight through 21 levels as you make your way to the bottom floor. Yes, as the name implies, you are descending the tower instead of rising through it as you complete each floor. Every 7 levels, you meet a different member of the Devils Triad who will try to assist you in your decline. This game mode looks super fun to me. I'm sure that'll be a great time when it does finally come out. I'm super excited to play it. However, what I really think is interesting about the Descendia is what it implies. Instead of rising through a tower and getting closer to heaven, you are instead descending and getting closer to hell. This metaphor makes a ton of sense because, well, Roth, the first ever Orcan proto-frame, turns into Uriel, a Warframe completely based on the devil. So now we have a lot of dots connecting. the fact the Orokin are seen as evil oppressors, the newest Warframe being based on the devil, and finally the newest game mode is seemingly referencing delving into hell deeper and deeper. Ignore that slip up right there. This is what causes me to get into my theory here. My theory, where I think that the Descendia is an alternate world or dimension that was created through Roth himself, almost like how the Tenno created Duveri to escape their life situation while aboard the Zarimon. However, instead of Descendia being created to escape reality, I think it was purposely created by either Entradi or Roth, or both of them together, in an attempt to find something redeemable about the Orokin, which is of course the question that we're trying to answer. Entradi, being an individual who has caused great strife to many, along with that, being an Orokin scientist, may have been feeling some kind of guilt or disgust at himself, and it caused him to force Roth to find out if him and all the other Orokin were redeemable. Well, I did say earlier that the Descendia was created from Roth's mind. It could also potentially be from Entradi himself, and he's just forcing Roth to go through it because, oh, well, he's a piece of shit. But I mean, I guess Roth probably wouldn't mind it too much, because besides him, the messed up Entradi family, and Albrecht himself, I can't really think of any living Orokin, unless you guys consider the Glassmaker alive still. So maybe Roth has to go through the Descendia to get even with Entradi for saving him from the absolute slaughter that was the Orokin genocide. And maybe once he finishes searching through it, Entradi promised to return him to the present day origin system. I honestly think that this theory is pretty solid, because why the hell would there be a tower to hell back in the Middle Ages? Like, there obviously has to be some other stuff going on, and I feel like we've been hearing about the Duveri paradox recently for some reason, so everything is just adding up to me. I mean, the last Warframe added before Noko was Araxia, and she was completely gotten from doing missions within the Duveri paradox, so I'm just saying there's some potential there. Not to mention, again, whenever there's some crazy, insane stuff going on, the man in the wall, or the entity, whatever you want to call him, or it, is doing some crazy stuff that usually involves the Void. And guess what? Remember Void Towers? Well, the Descendia is a tower. Another connection? I think so. Alright, that one might be a bit of a reach. I hope you guys see where I'm coming from here. There's definitely potential for me to not just be completely crazy, and actually just be right. Now the question is, if the Descendia is truly Roth's or Entradi's own personal little hell, what could they be looking for in there? Maybe they're looking for some long lost forgotten memory about the Void that could help them fight off the entity, or perhaps it is truly just because they feel guilty and they're trying to find something redeemable about themselves. Or perhaps, even beyond that, Entradi tricked Roth by telling him that he's looking for redemption, when in reality, Entradi is really just looking for information hidden in one of their minds. I'm not sure. Those are just some of my leading theories. Yes, that does mean I have a leading theory for my own theory. We are getting pretty deep here. Lost in the sauce? Maybe. So I talked about this a little bit in my last video about the Devils Triad, which was last Tuesday, I believe, and I think I'm pretty on point with this one too. But once again, I thought it was on point before when it came to Warframe, and I ended up being completely wrong most of the time. Anyway, I want to specifically talk about why I think that Marie is so dedicated to Entradi, and how that might end up playing out when it actually comes to the story of the Devils Triad. Based on the dev stream, we know that Marie used to be a sickly and weak child that was generally unable to walk or really do any physical activity. It was so bad they actually had to remove her feet. Yeah, if you look at her feet, they're like little peg leg things. I don't really know how to describe them, to be honest. I was going to say nubs, but I feel like that might be a little bit offensive. I'm not sure why. But if anyone out there has had their legs amputated, let me know what you call it in the comments below. And I'm being truthful here. Like, I'm actually curious, and I'll try to use that term in the future and not call them nubs. Anyway, the point is, her life was pretty bad, and she was pretty sick. However, when we actually get to see her and meet her for the first time, she seems pretty damn healthy, and has very clearly been putting in work on the squat rack. Like, we're talking doing 300 pounds as reps at the minimum. Like 150 kilograms or something like that if you're not American. So how did she get to this point is the key question we're answering, and while my belief and answer, I'd say if the teacher called on me, is that Entradi probably had something to do with it. Especially since we know that Marie is a proto-frame, so he definitely had something to do with it. He probably saw her struggle as a weak and sad little girl, and it was like, huh, she's gonna be easy to take advantage of, and then groomed her to be dedicated to him by infecting her with the technocyte virus in order to turn her into a killing machine. Not fully realizing how hard he played her, she probably became incredibly dedicated to him, thinking that he not only cured her, but basically turned her into a super soldier. I bet a key moment of a quest involving her, or the romance and relationship stuff surrounding her, will be her realizing how Entradi is truly a very bad person, and whatever he may have done to help her was only to benefit himself in some sort of way. The leg she does have now, like the peg leg looking thing, even sort of kind of looks like infected flesh or Warframe flesh, so I mean restoring her ability to walk would probably make her pretty dedicated to him, despite whatever else he may have done. It'll probably be hard to convince her he's a bad guy, even if she does know that he was like, using her. So like, he got her to walk, guys. That's pretty important. Alright, that's pretty much all I got for this video. I know these are some pretty surface level ideas when you really get down to it, but still I really do think they have a decent chance to be right. Like, I feel somewhat confident in what I'm throwing down here. Also, I know not a single one of my theories mentioned Father Leon Allard, and well, that's because I feel like we have the least information surrounding him. Funnily enough, we have the most information surrounding the Warframe Haro, but the least about the proto-frame Leon Allard. I kind of feel like they just glazed over him in the dev stream, except for the fact that he was always hurting himself, which is pretty sad, and I hope he stops doing that. Also, Roth is super interesting to me because he's the first orc in proto-frame, and Marie is more interesting because she's hot. Also, he has a dumb hat, Leon does, so maybe if he lost the hat, I'd have a theory for him. Anyway, dumb joking around aside, thank you all so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it, and it means a ton to me. And a huge, massive shout out to my members, Jay and Simon King 5000, who have been absolute legends in supporting me for a while. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Stay blessed, stay happy, and most importantly, stay safe, everyone.